You're listening to
Wrestling to the Max.
Alert, clear all channels.
This is an exclusive.
How you like that?
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Vieser.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Played too much of that fader. Okay. So, we are here at Wrestling to the Max Extra, reviewing nights 17 and 18 as I press the wrong button again. Well, Paul, we certainly have much to discuss on this show.
From incredible matchups to insanely unexpected results. This is going to be an extra for the history books.
Yes, so much happening here on these two nights, and then can you believe it, in about an hour they're going to be doing the final already. Well, you know, the whole final show and everything, which
right.
Has some fun matches on it, as well as the big final matchup that we'll get into here. But man, might as well start it off with Hiroshi Tenzan's final G1 Climax match, or at least we think, against the young Sonata. And Tenzan brought it. He brought some more. He just couldn't outlast the young guy.
And I mean, the young guy, of course, being Sonata, they work some ghetto special. We get some bat play. Sonata just continues to look incredible. Didn't have quite the tournament I expected him to, but 8 points ain't bad. And, I mean, if this is Tenzan's last G1, he certainly did well for himself. Not to mention, if that embrace between him and Kojima didn't bring a tear to your eye, you're clearly not a human being.
Yeah, it was one of those bittersweet moments. Certainly. It was like, well, he didn't get to even get close to winning, but you know, I'm sure his pal was still there for him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that, honestly. And, I mean, Sonata goes out on a win. So, and if, we go to, according to your normal, lore with the briefcase, depending on what happens, maybe Sonata's in the running for one of those briefcase matches.
Right.
At one of these shows, but obviously depends on who wins and everything. But yeah, this was a good match. I mean, Tenzan had a great showing for his final one. At least he gave it everything, and definitely can't be disappointed in what he did here. I mean, he pulled out all the stops, and just that one like big headbutt that he gives to Sonata, and then just missing things after, like when he missing the moonsault and everything. It's like, oh, you feel for him.
Mm-hmm.
But figured Sonata would win.
Yeah, I mean, if Sonata didn't, I think it would have been a disservice at this point, seeing as you would and already shot Tenzan being a contender by the end of this a long time ago.
Certainly. And now we move on to the thing that always, if you like stiff fest, this should bring joy to your face. These two, if I know they wrestled at least 4 times for the Never title, they might have wrestled more even without the Never title involved last year. It felt like it went on for a long time. Ishii and Tomohiro Ishii and Togi Makabe going at it, And they brought, I think, the best of what you get from these two. Just, seriously, these two just stiff each other for 12 minutes. And if you enjoy that, go watch this.
The opening 2 minutes might be some of the hardest hitting wrestling I've seen this year, and that says a lot for how much we've watched, and not to mention extracurriculars and whatever. So, Ishii continues to be an incredible, incredible wrestler, hands down the MVP of this tournament. And Makabe, he brought his fair share, but thank God they gave Ishii another win. He absolutely deserved it.
Yeah, it was great that he got that final win. Makabe just goes, after going 4-0, just goes 0-5 in the last stretch, or it might have been 0-4 again. But, yeah, Ishii, man, the dude has been just sleepwalking the dude could sleepwalk and get 4-star matches. He is certainly amazing. And nothing. I mean, look, this is one of those guys, I think, with Makabe that he just kind of has really great chemistry with. So they just kind of know what each other brings to the table, and they're like, well, let's just do this again. And they know they can get everybody's attention with it. It's just, I think last year it was just way too many times of sort of the same thing.
That's very true. I think, like you said, 4 times, I think, last year. Before we finally got some fresh blood in there in Shibata. But, man, these guys, they still, like you said, they know each other inside and outside, backwards, forwards, whatever direction you want to go, they can figure each other out in about a half second. And it helps when you both work a very similar style of going out there and throwing hands and making it as real as possible without maybe being real, and maybe 50% of the time being real.
Yeah, and don't have Ishii trying to do a freaking tope con hilo in like the first 10 seconds or whatever. Like one of those matches. It's like, what the hell am I watching here? And also don't give them like over like 15 minutes, because then it just runs into, we don't know what to do. And one of those matches really suffered from that, because they had to go like over 20 minutes. It was like, oh my God.
I think it's one of those where they got to main event that show, if I remember correctly, so they're going to get the most time. But right. I mean, certainly in this one, you maybe got one of the most brutal spider suplexes from Makabe ever, because Ishii damn near died. But
yeah, dude does his work. So after this, I mean, if you're not out of it yet, you go on and man, I'm sitting here looking through notes, and I turned the wrong page. But we get Fale and Tonga, and this was fun. I thought this was going to be one of those that I really didn't necessarily enjoy, and they made this actually really fun. Like, you had the Bullet Club D team out there with Tonga, and they sort of make it seem like we're going to get we don't even have to do the finger poke of doom. We just have Tonga lay down. And he kicks out at the last second, and he kind of fights with himself for most of the match about, man, do I do my buddy a solid, or do I just try to win this match? And thankfully he goes and tries to win this match, and he does win. And they had some fun spots. Just this is where knowing each other, I think, really works.
Yeah, being a tag team certainly helps. I think Tonga found his way by the end of this tournament. His last 4 or 5 matches have been pretty damn good, and really, I think he got to show you what he can bring when he's given time to shine as a singles competitor. And you get more of the same, obviously, from lots of energy, lots of reversals, because obviously Fale is going to dominate. And he finally gets him up and puts him away with the gun stun. I thought he was going to have to go with a different move, but he ends up getting the win. I was pretty happy. Yeah,
the head shrinker counter too was really good. He did it well on Fale, and you know what? People crap on Fale a lot, but I thought he had a really good tournament for Fale. And he's probably getting that title match with Okada, so should be interesting to see if he continues what we got here, and he has a interesting close to the year at least.
Yes.
But yeah, we were both kind of down on Tonga. We're like, oh man, this guy's got to bring it. for this tournament. The first couple, maybe first three matches, 4 matches, he wasn't what we expected, and then he really turned it on in the back half. Like you said.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, he got a sleepwalking Okada one night, and looking back in hindsight, maybe it's hard to blame Okada for that, seeing as he gave us 2 5-star matches this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But Tonga really could have used some help there, obviously, and whatever. But he found his way against the right opponents and probably the right time, the home stretch. And hopefully this will carry over a lot of good feeling for Tonga, and he can get something going again.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've got these, destruction shows coming up, which, now looking at the results, we could have some an interesting, maybe Noah versus New Japan one night, and maybe Bullet Club shines a little bit too, with all the Bullet Club doing well, and who knows if good results happen for them, they could even be tag champions. After the final show. I mean, hopefully not. I mean, Briscoe's much better going forward for having those titles, but it's not like the tag titles just have some great resonance with Geto at the moment.
Right.
So we move on to Fale's match. If Fale would have won, he would have been head of that block still, but Tonga got the upset so that he wouldn't be involved in the finishing of the 2 matches, and so we go into the second match that has implications for both guys. Hiroki Goto basically has to win and then hope for a draw. Marufuji can hope for a draw or an Okada win, since he beat Okada on that first night. And man, they went out here. I gave it 4+ stars. Loved these guys going out here. Marufuji gave Goto a kick in the corner that I was sitting there going, how the hell is Goto standing still? I think you could hear it in the next arena, wherever that is. Just ouch. And Goto too. I loved his closing stretch there and getting into the GTR. He's been really smart with that. I wonder if they're ever going to have Goto and Shibata again, because having the 2 guys that use the sleeper to go into their finisher face each other would certainly be interesting. Especially, because when Goto was doing that thing with where he was trying to join Chaos, Shibata wasn't happy about it. So,
right.
It would be interesting to see if they ever bring that up again. But, man, these 2 just went out there, left it all out there. Goto winning decisively. And now he waits for that draw. What do you think?
Marufuji, I think, really brought this tournament. I was not expecting a whole lot of great things from him, and he comes and just makes me look like a stupid idiot, to quote Chris Jericho. He was awesome in this match. I really loved this from top to bottom. His leaping knee strike is absolutely disgusting. He's got a whole series of big kicks in this that you mentioned that are just incredible, and Goto wrestles such a smart match now with that GTR as his finisher. The Ushigoroshi plays a bit more of a role because that's a bit more of a setup now for a GTR. And as much as I miss the Shouten Kai, he can really do anything with that GTR, and gets a well-deserved win here.
Yeah, he does. It was surprising. I thought they'd have Marufuji kind of waiting in the wings there, not Goto. So that was certainly, I think, a surprise. Kind of leads again to that thought of, will they foil Goto again? And we'll see when we get to that final match. But man, Marufuji certainly has got to be in people's top 5s as far as performers for this tournament. And he brought it. He was of course it helps to be really motivated as well.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have that much motivation to know it because they've been doing the Suzuki Gun thing for like ever, and now he comes to New Japan. He can do G1, like you mentioned it last time, that there may be something about will he stay a little bit longer, and I think he's trying to show like maybe you should try to get me to stay here. Same thing with Nakajima of bring him in. Let's have him have some more matches.
And they really could use some more Japanese stars. It feels like the influx of Gaijins has almost gotten to an incredible rate. So some more homegrown talent, even if they are from Noah, I think would really help New Japan feel fresh.
Certainly, and then we get into the final match, and oh my god,
Huh.
they did it again, Paul. They did it again. I don't know how they keep doing this, but another 5-star spectacular, another draw, second one in their entire history of Okada and Tanahashi. And this was one of those, I think this is like a sports moment, like that picture perfect. Tanahashi hits that final high fly flow after Okada had basically blocked it a lot of the match, and then Okada kicks out because, man, these guys have had longer matches before. It makes sense. But, everything leading up to that moment, and even that moment itself with the bell ringing at 2.5, just beautiful.
This is the picture-perfect draw match that is often thought of, but maybe has never been done before. Okada and Tanahashi go out here and knock each other's block off for 30 minutes. Okada's drop kicks, if you call his drop kick a 10 out of 10, they were at 11 on this match. They were insane. I think Tanahashi more than held up his end and showed that even him at 60%, I said he might be better than 80%. He's probably better than 95% of wrestlers at 60%. The dude is incredible. All the high fly flows, everything that Okada had, he took and just kept on coming and coming. And just when it looked like he was about to get that big win, the bell rings and it's a draw, and the despair just hangs on him. And it's incredible. Absolutely. Go watch this match. Just go watch this match. Watch this entire show, but this match is incredible.
Yeah, this match was freaking great, and it's you got Tanahashi again doing the thing with the dragon screw, working on his leg, which has been a thing in various of their matches, and he's constantly trying to hit that high fly flow, and he gets it a couple times. He could have had a count out at one point, but he tries to do too much, and it hurts him. The freaking tombstone. Tombstone to the outside by Okada was nuts. I mean, it's 30 minutes. There's so much stuff. I can't go over it all. Just like Paul said, watch it and just amazing work from both guys. And, I know there's going to be people that are going to complain about Okada again not selling the leg like crazy or whatever. I mean, you're going to see better selling of a body part in the final of the Night 18, but it's kind of not been about that for Okada. The dude it's happened in other matches with him and Tanahashi, and I think at this point, you're being a little bit too picky if you're going over that.
It ultimately became secondary to the story they were trying to tell. It became, forget all the pain, forget everything that you're putting me through, I'm going to beat you. And they couldn't do it.
And it sure as hell ain't going to lose to this high-five flow tonight either.
Yeah, I mean, I've eaten 8 of these before, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. I mean, it was just masterclass. And the closing stretch, too, was just unbelievable. So much stuff going on.
The crowd was insane the entire match. And then when they hit that finishing stretch, the pitch it's incredible. That building probably shouldn't be standing.
Oh, just and then they had to do it the next night too. So it's still there after 2 nights. It's just incredible stuff, and what a great close to a Night 17. Great close to the A block, and this of course means your boy by default, Hiroki Goto wins.
I couldn't have called this if I wanted to. This is incredible. Especially considering you got a fresh matchup in the final, which is really nice. And, I mean, you could probably guess who's going to get the Duke here, but, I mean, nobody called any of what happened in this tournament at all from the beginning. So, hats off to Geto for booking one hell of a tournament.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are complaining, actually, a lot of people in Japan not happy about this result. They wanted Tanahashi Naito because it's in Tokyo, because it's where their biggest fan bases are. That's another thing too. Tanahashi, the entire match, Tanahashi, no Okada chance, nothing. They were all about Tanahashi in this night, And, that's the thing, too. Like, Tanahashi was so desperate because he had done all this to make that big comeback, and then he doesn't win either,
Right.
And it was such a great story, but that's the thing, too. It's not just the Americans that are upset about things. A lot of people upset about, Naito not winning on the other block, but geez, did not expect the fact that in Japan they weren't happy about this either.
Yeah, that Block B finish is puzzling. And especially because Naito and Goto has some history in it too. Goto beat Naito back at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah,
So
Naito beat him New Japan Cup.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot to go through just from this year. Not even going back further. So a head scratcher to be sure.
Yeah, so that is the end for the A block. You have, of course, Hiroki Goto winning the block with 12 points, and you have the Okada and Tanahashi tie, so they'll have 11 points, and everybody else that was around. Why am I losing the? Marufuji, Fale, 10. Sonata, Ishii, Makabe, Tonga all finished with 8, and Tenzan with the lowly 4 points for Tenzan. But very parity at the end with this Block A. But overall, just a wonderful Block A. And now we move on to Night 18 with the Block B matches. They start with two guys that are eliminated, Tomoaki Honma and Yuji Nagata. Honma wins as opposed to last year where he lost in his final match. After he'd won, beat Ishii, they made him lose to frickin' Yujiro, which was a dumb call. And then you have Honma win here to beat Nagata. This was a pretty good match. Enjoyed it. You get some Honma stuff here. Nagata going all out with a super exploder. But Honma wins with those Kokeshis.
I really enjoyed the finish to this one. The build-up was your standard stuff, I think, but the finish, I think, maybe put this over. Hanma with the jumping tombstone, or the sit-out tombstone, and a jumping Kokeshi, and that still doesn't put Nagata away, so he has to go up top for the Kokeshi. This is a really fun match. This is the only match I thought Hanma was going to win the entire tournament, so at least my lowly and long torn to shreds G1 Pick'em had something right on this night.
I was trying to look for you, and I couldn't even find you. Have you tried to, look where you are?
I'm probably so far at the bottom, there's he's not even worth counting. Not even worth counting.
Oh, okay. Because I found Tom at some point. I found another guy that was in that Cool Kids group, but I was sitting there going, where the hell is everybody else? I can't see nobody here. But, yeah, I mean, is it because they did it differently this time? They have it done in, I think it's in their forums instead of having it in the reviews like last year.
Right.
So you have to go dig a little bit to find it, but yeah. So, I mean, that was a pretty good match to start things off. Then you get the respite a little bit with the Yano and Yoshihashi match. Disappointed that Yoshihashi did not win, but I kind of understand they wanted to have Marufuji and Yano, since they're tag team champions, together with the same amount of points.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the sky's the limit for Yoshi at this point. He's had such a great tournament. I don't know if he needed to beat Yano here, and you just get your standard Yano special, which is totally okay.
Yeah, certainly. But I mean, it sucks. I wanted Yoshihashi to get to end with some more points, but unfortunately, doesn't always work that way for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he's more than elevated his status, so if they don't give him some better matches, or at least let him stand out in a singles capacity, then they're going to be doing something wrong.
I'm looking at this here. I am 78 out of 398, and I knew where Tom was. I was 50 last night, and then I did terribly today. So I don't want to know what's going to happen when I don't have a guy in the final either, but I think Tom is 347. I found him down here. But, all right, we move on to a match that was actually very good between Evil and Shibata here. These two just went at it, and Shibata he was pissed. He wanted to end this thing. He was finding way. He wanted to just kill Evil. It seemed like at points. He even did Evil's. He does the STO sometimes in his matches anyway, but he sort of did Evil's finish to him, and Evil still kicked out. Evil wins as we expected, so you get the never title shot that we're assuming is coming. But I enjoyed this.
I enjoyed this a lot too. Shibata's shoulder is legitimately fucked up beyond all recognition, or FUBARD if we're going to use the abbreviation. And Evil getting the win here, I think was going to happen no matter what. It puts him in that title hunt, and I think that's where they want him, is in that hard-hitting, never open-weight division. So, a good book, a good booking end here, and of course, Shibata's selling might have been spotty, but ultimately it's secondary. The match was fine. Evil gets the win. Everything you want happens here.
Yeah, that's the thing with, we talked about it the last time with Shibata too. That's just kind of it's that, like you said, it's hard because it's part of his character to be a tough guy. So
right.
It's between that tough guy and the selling thing. And Evil did do a very good job of working on that shoulder in this match. So I give him credit for that. He really went after it and knew the weak point and did what he had to do. Got a decisive win too. So that's good for Evil. He's had a good tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly one of the standouts in Block B. He was somebody I was always looking forward to his matches with, and these last four guys that are up on this night probably your best for sure. But man, these next two matches, Sean, are just incredible.
Yes. So we move on, and as I mentioned, it's possible that we have a New Japan versus Noah destruction show, because not only could we have Naramichi Marufuji going against Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, we're going to have Kazuchika Nakajima going against Michael Elgin for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. It looks like by the way that Nakajima constantly bows to Elgin, and Elgin raises his hand, that you'd think that that's what's going to happen here. But Noah looking good, and boy, this match was awesome. Frickin' German in the corner by Elgin just to, mess with Nakajima to start. Nakajima, of course, working on the leg and the shoulder, both on the right side, so he's basically trying to paralyze that right side of Elgin. And man, these two just go at it. Some nasty chops by Elgin. Nakajima does hit the PK, but he can't hit the Brainbuster because Elgin blocks it. Elgin misses the big Mike Flow. I love the part where, Nakajima's doing these, elbows or whatever that he can't. He's obviously known as the kick guy because his elbows are not very strong. And Elgin's like, hit me! And then he just whacks him with an elbow. I don't think I've ever seen an elbow that nasty. And then, oh my God, the lariat after that. I don't know how Nakajima is standing. I think the entire arena shook after that thing. It was ridiculous. But Nakajima wins, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, Nakajima gets the win. PK, if I remember correctly, and PK Brainbuster combo. That was it. And then I swear to God, if Ishii is your MVP, Elgin is right there behind him, I think, because Elgin had an absolutely astounding tournament. Great matches from top to bottom. Really, you could watch everything he did in this tournament, and you wouldn't be disappointed at all. Nakajima was great in this match. Nakajima's had really good other matches, but Elgin's performance was unreal. And in this match, I think they went out there, they put it all on the line. Lots of kicks, lots of lariats, lots of big moves. The deadlift Super Falcon Arrow will always get a pop for me. Michael Elgin continued to do that forever. The big buckle bomb, absolutely nasty. And just, my God, the kicks Nakajima was firing are unreal. Absolutely unreal.
The big counter of the Elgin bomb, too, into that pin was really good, too, because I don't think anybody's, countered it like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, props to Nakajima for winning this one. I'm Intercontinental title match between these two cannot happen soon enough because my God, I could watch these. This is a fight forever chant waiting to happen.
Yes, certainly. And so we get into this final main event match. Tetsuya Naito, the man that everybody had been proclaiming is going to get to this final, and not only get to the final, but win the final, will not get there because Kenny Omega stopped him in his tracks. People kept talking about there's no drama, there was no story to this. They were having problems trying to find the story. And to me, I felt like Naito was just doing his thing that he's been doing in every single match, going after the knee. And Naito, I almost felt like maybe he was going for the draw at one point. Like he knows if he draws, he wins, right? Or he goes through. And Omega was doing so much amazing stuff that it just got into Naito's head that, oh crap, I'm going to have to do some big stuff here to knock him down. And so I think it's just one of those, like, it became this, how do I top this match? And Naito just, he couldn't do enough to get Omega down, and Omega wins. But my God, that powerbomb through the table, and then the springboard, Tope con Hilo over the barricade. Amazing. Just amazing, Paul.
3 words. Super Reverse Hurricane Rana.
Oh.
Fuck me sideways, I thought he died.
Yes. Oh.
This match, another 5-star, if I've ever seen one too. This is unreal. I'm only assuming that Elgin and Nakajima came to the back, and Naito and Omega are just sitting there looking at each other like, fuck, we gotta go out there and try to top this. And they absolutely hit it out of the ballpark. Naito goes, he's the usual tranquilo, and Omega is not. Omega is hype beyond all belief. He comes out here, and it seems like a storm that Naito was not ready for. That was
Super
what I took
serious
away.
too.
Yeah. Omega has been silly at the beginning and has progressively gotten more serious as his opponents have. And the dude just went out here and absolutely killed it. Showed you every reason why he's here. Gets the win with the one-winged angel, and is a move that Naito constantly fought out of the entire match, and when he finally got it, that was it.
Yeah, and one of those was a great counter into the heel hook, and Kenny Omega just, his facial expressions the entire time during that battle of the ropes was amazing. I think it really brought that drama to another level. And honestly, I think other than the one time where he hits him with that bad knee to do a knee, he sold the knee really, really well. And I mean, I know that there's people going to complain about it and all that stuff because that's what they do. But you can't please everybody. But just and the freaking the cradle tombstone he does. Out of one of the Destinos. Just my God.
Disgusting. Absolutely frightening.
And then just Kenny, the way he just puts him away at the end. Awesome stuff. They even slap each other. I mean, there's just and it's the shock too. The shock of Kenny Omega winning. They were chanting for Naito the entire time as Omega makes a point in his promo, and then they chant for Omega afterwards when he wins. And so he says you need to bet on him because I'm gonna beat Goto, and we'll have to see. There has never been a Gaijin that has won the G1. There has been Gaijins that have gotten as far as Omega is going to. Even Carl Anderson, who's now in WWE, and Rick Rude way back in the day. So, what do you think, Paul? You think Omega is going to be the first one?
I don't. I think there's a lot more mileage out of a Goto win because you can continue that story and show, like, well, I joined Chaos and I still can't fucking win anything, or hold on to anything or whatever, so ultimately, hopefully it gets Goto to transition to that next level and he can finally break through and win that main event spot that he's been chasing for what feels like forever. And, with all the rumors swirling about, Omega staying or going to WWE and New Japan thinking that if WWE does come calling, he's going to take the call and leave, I think they play the safe bet and go with Goto.
You don't think there's a chance that they might reward him hoping that he stays?
Not a chance. Not a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously those records are meant to be broken. That one I just said about Gaijin's never winning. One day you would imagine that it would happen. I mean, AJ got really close, but he didn't make it to the final last year. So, it is a big shock win, but that's the thing too. When we said it, if there was a possibility that Goto wins, you can have anybody face Goto because it doesn't really matter at that point. It didn't have to be Naito. Naito had the cool story. Shibata would have had an even better story. But it's Goto, so it doesn't really necessarily matter. And they were behind Goto in that Marufuji match, so I'm assuming they're going to be behind Goto in this as well. The thing is, if we're going to go by, again, what has been the history with the briefcase, his opponents would be Tanahashi, Okada, and Sonata. 3 big opponents. Could you imagine if Okada, champion, takes the briefcase too? What do you do at that point?
I don't know what you do at that point. But, I mean, that would be the thing, though, right? He beats Okada twice within so many months before leading up to the Dome, if he does get that rematch with him. And, he'll beat Tanahashi, he'll beat the hot rookie in Sonata, and then loses to Naito. I mean, man, there's a lot of good story, I think, to be had there.
I mean, how do you, the only thing, I don't know how you could get necessarily Naito back into the picture if that's where they wind up going, other than perhaps Sonata being a teammate, giving it to Naito or something like that.
I can see that.
Go ahead.
Constantly doing something to get under Goto's skin, I'm sure would do it too.
Yeah, I mean, they have 3 Destruction shows. I'm sure all the 3 of the main titles will probably be the headliners for those. I mean, they've got King of Pro Wrestling, they got Power Struggle, so there's your 3 big shows where you have the three matches for Goto. It's interesting because you have also 3 for Okada, so either somebody's not getting a title match or Okada's just not going to worry about the briefcase, and perhaps maybe that's where Naito comes in or something. There's got to be some way. It's just hard for me to believe that we're not even going to entertain the idea that Naito's even going to have a play in trying to get to Wrestle Kingdom. Because, I mean, not to say anything about Kenny Omega, because he certainly had some women out there with merch and some men too, but Naito is, it's a big-time draw, as he's proven. I mean, not obviously the draw Okada and Tanahashi are, but it would be weird for him not to even be involved at all, right?
I have to think he makes it to Wrestle Kingdom in that IWGP title match, just because I don't know, as much as I would be thrilled for Goto to make it all the way to the Dome with the briefcase, where's that gonna sell? Because I have to think that would be the time he finally wins the championship, is if he makes it to the Dome with the briefcase. But I don't know if New Japan and Gedo and all those guys have the confidence in him to draw even half as well as Naito has. And maybe you didn't plan for Naito to be as big as he is, and that's why you gave him the title reign earlier this year. But I have to think you go back to that because there's no reason to shoot a guy in the foot who has become your hottest act simply overnight this year. And why wouldn't you get back on that train with a championship around his waist,
Yeah, you're right about the Goto drawing. That's been an issue with Goto in almost all of his, whether it's been his IC title reign or whether it's any time that you've been expecting him to draw with someone. It's been proven that it takes a bit,
Right.
And so, do you want to do that now with? Obviously, you still have Okada, the champion, so, you're not necessarily relying on Goto to draw at these other shows where he's having these matches, but he is going to be in that sort of semi-final, semi-main event spot, and they're going to judge that as well, and then you're going to be like, man, like you said, if he goes all the way to the Dome, he's probably winning, unless you want to just do the whole, we're going to break his heart there at the end, which they've sort of done already. I would feel like the bigger breaking heart is the briefcase.
I agree with you, because it plays so well into, well, then why did I join Chaos at this point, if I'm not going to get anywhere further. But if he makes it there and wins and if he makes it to the Dome with the briefcase and he doesn't win the championship, there is no more sense in pushing him. You've shot that entire thing in the foot, and I think they know that. I think New Japan knows that, so it makes so much sense for Naito to somehow get his hands on the briefcase.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, look, just like you, I'm going to be excited if he does get back there and he wins, just because it means they finally gave him a shot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they do need to push new people. They do need to put guys in bigger main event positions, and they have done that through this tournament. You have guys that are now in spots that they weren't before, that are in big drawing positions now because of what they've done, and guys that obviously they now believe in. But this is going to be really interesting, and if Omega wins somehow, him and Okada at the main event at Wrestle Kingdom, not going to be too shabby either.
Right.
I mean, are you any percent chance that you're giving Omega winning?
I will give him exactly 5.4% chance of winning.
Jeez. Wow. I would have said, yeah.
I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening.
And I think that the talk about the total, you talked about it. I've heard people talking about it today on Twitter and in reviews about the whole over-reliance on Gaijins. Talk about if Omega wins, you're relying on, that's going to explode.
Yeah, I mean, a large signal of where New Japan is going if he does win, I think.
Yeah, but that's going to do it here, as, like I said, in about 30 minutes, they're going to be doing the G1 final show, starting a little bit earlier. But, yeah, I mean, we'll be back with Tom later on Sunday night discussing that G1 final show. We'll go through all the matches. Of course, they have an ROH World title match with Jay Lethal, and he was on the undercard for these shows as well, Jay Lethal and Kojima. You have the IWGP heavyweight tag title match that I already mentioned. The junior tag titles are going to be defended at the Super J Cup that's on the next week. And you have some interesting Noah guys, and there's I can't say his name. Katoge is facing is going with it's Marufuji, I think, against Okada and Geto. So that's pretty cool. Weird they didn't have Yano. I guess because it's a chaos thing, they can't go against each other. That's right. And then you also get to see somebody with Nakajima. I can't remember who it is right now.
Let's see, Nakajima. I have the card here in front of me. Nakajima is teaming up with a bunch of guys from Noah. So it's Nakajima, it's Go Shiozaki, it's Maibach Taniguchi, and Masa Kitamiya, who all top guys over there for Noah. They're taking on Tree Man, good old Manabu Nakanishi, Yuji Nagata, Tenzin, and Shibata.
All right, well that should be interesting. Weird that they had to go back to the Maybach. He was doing okay, just as Shuhei Taniguchi, but went back to that already. But can't win them all, I guess. But I mean that card should be fantastic, and hopefully the final match delivers. I mean, you're going to have, with that underdog, the underachiever Goto, people cheering for him, and got to wonder what Kenny Omega we're going to get, if he's going to be overconfident, if he's going to be a little goofy considering it's Goto, or is he going to be super serious? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, if he's not 10,000% serious, I think you're doing a disjustice to everything you did on Night 18. If you're not wholly consumed by winning this thing, especially being, for Omega, the achievement of being the first, or the possibility of being the first Gaijin to win the G1. If he wins this, he's never going to shut up, Yeah,
exactly. Naito always had his stuff. Omega will never let anybody forget that he won this. But
right.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us here. Like I said, check back with us in a day, and we'll be doing that final show. And of course, then starts our week where we die, Paul. Where we doing Raw, regular W2M episode where we talk about news and ROH, TV, and other stuff that goes on. Then SmackDown. Then we take a break for a day. Then we do our other episode. And we talk about news and other things where we're previewing the NXT TakeOver show, previewing the SummerSlam. We'll also preview that ROH Death Before Dishonor on Monday as well.
Yep.
And then Saturday, Death Before Dishonor and TakeOver. I have to work. I have to close on Saturday, so that's going to be fun. We get to start really late. And then Sunday, SummerSlam, Super J-Cup. My lord, the week of wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, I work 11 to 9 all this next week for the week of death, so once again, I will be throwing another interesting wrench into the plans as well. I don't even know if I'll be able to watch SummerSlam and do the show.
Oh, boy.
So, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting.
Certainly. But all right, guys, until tomorrow or later today. See you later, everybody.
Have a good night, folks.